Happy Valentine's month, everybody. I'm the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to share with you some of my favorite Valentine's Day episodes from TV shows or even movies. Not everything is all lovey-dovey. Sometimes Valentine's Days deal with heartache and everything. So, some episodes will be romantic and lovey-dovey, while others will be very sad and heart-wrenching and stuff. But love is love. It doesn't always come with smiles and giggles and glee. So, I'm here today to talk to you about Batman Beyond Season 2. Terry Friend dates a robot. So, this is an episode that's based off a Buffy episode where somebody creates a robot to date and other stuff. So, being a huge fan of Buffy, Bruce Timm and his team went to work on making this episode. Now, season 2 of Batman Beyond, Bruce Timm has said that he wanted Terry to have more interaction with his high school friends and high school stuff and more high school villains, because this is a very much different Batman. And so it works, and I get his point, but I prefer Batman just fighting them like tycoon, supervillains, stuff like that. All of that high school stuff got a little bit corny at times. This is a bit of a corny episode, and it's a pretty hilarious episode. But season 2 had a lot of corny episodes. So this episode, it starts off very unusual. I believe, now I can't remember. I remember Bruce said that he was burnt out because him and his team was working on 3 different shows at one time. The New Adventures of Batman, The New Adventures of Superman, and Batman Beyond. All at the same time. And so when this one starts, it starts off very unusual. Terry's Batman, the background has a red sky, a night sky. And he's fighting some of Batman's rogues galleries from the New Adventures of Batman. Why? Because he's in a holodeck simulation thing with synthoids, which are these androids that take the appearance of anything. And so Bruce is finally teaching Terry, how to fight and stuff. Because the thing is, he's supposed to train Terry, but we rarely ever see it in the show. And so this is one of those incidents where he is actually training him. And Terry is so good fighting these robots that he kicks the head off one of them. So he has to get it replaced. So that day at school, he's hanging out, and there's a dude named Howard who's a friend of Terry's. Howard is a very large kid with huge buck teeth and a gap, and he wears glasses. He thinks he's the coolest kid ever, but he's not. And he's throwing a house party because his parents aren't going to be there on the weekend. So he's inviting tons of people, but nobody really wants to go, right? And so him and Terry are hanging out, and Terry has to go, the limo comes up. Bruce's limo. Now, what's really interesting about Bruce's limo is that it's just the Batmobile from Batman the Animated Series turned upside down. I would have never guessed that until Bruce Timm mentioned that. So Howard's impressed by the limo, and him and Terry go to get a synthoid. And so, while they're there, Howard's just walking around, and he overhears one of the inventors talking about, I can build whatever type of woman you want and everything. And so basically, this dude does things on the side. You're not supposed to make robots that look like people, but this dude does. Also, Bruce does it too. So technically, Bruce is breaking the law. And so, this dude is basically making sex robots. And so Howard overhears this, and he has one built from himself. So now he has a girlfriend, a green-eyed redhead, and she's walking through the halls in school talking about how Howard's the only guy for her, and Howard has a new spring in his step. Guys are jealous, this and that. Girls are now interested in him because he's with a hot girl. And so she overhears one of the students talk smack about him. So when the dude's in the locker room, she attacks him by dumping the locker on top of him. And so as Terry is investigating, he brings out one of Batman's tools, and he's scanning the locker, and it has no prints. And Max decides she's gonna snoop around and go in the guy's locker room with Terry. And so all the guys start going to the locker room. She gets scared and she hides in one of the lockers. And he has no way to get her out, so she misses the entire her next class. So, anyways, throughout this entire episode, Howard's girlfriend, who he renamed Cynthia, is like telling him around, and every time she overhears like a girl like Howard or something like that, she gets jealous and tries to hurt them. Terry intercepts, and then she attacks Terry. And so on the night of the party, no, not yet. So Terry suspects that when Howard was in the laboratory that he had a robot made for him. So he goes there and he overhears the dude talking to one of his clients. Him and Batman kind of get into a scuffle, and then he has all the androids attack Batman. When he does capture the dude, like, the dude actually is funny because he created a robot of himself to like fool people in case the cops ever try to get him. But somehow Batman knew it wasn't him because all of a sudden he's starting to act brave. So then he captures the real one. On the night of the party, everybody's there from school. Some of the girls are still into Howard and stuff. And so Cynthia is still getting jealous. Every time she gets jealous of somebody, she constantly pushes or shoves them or just tries to attack them, right? Howard sees this because she attacks Max. And so Howard takes her upstairs and he talks to her. And she's all like, I'm the only person for you and blah, 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 blah. And he's trying to call tech support because she's malfunctioning. Don't know why exactly she just starts attacking people. It was never in her program. But love is one of the strongest things, so who knows, you know what I'm saying? And so he tells her, look, I'm young and I have my whole life ahead of me, and maybe we can just like break up or something like that. So it's causing her to haywire and everything. And she starts to attack Howard. He manages to get out of there, but then all of a sudden she's in like the living room and she's trying to like attack Howard, and Max tries to stop her, but it doesn't work. Batman shows up and he starts kicking her butt, but she is too strong for him. And then so a fire starts and everybody runs out. At some point, Howard's all like, look, Cynthia, like, you're great and everything, but maybe we can be friends. and Batman's all like, oh, crap. And Howard's all like, did I say the wrong thing? He's like, is that ever the right thing to say? So then she about to go nuclear and everything, and she explodes. Actually, I don't think there was a house fire at that time. I think the house was just being crumbled and people just got out. But then when she explodes, then the house sets on fire. Everybody's out there and everybody's like, oh, this is like the coolest party ever. But some of the girls are turned off by Howard because now he has a robot girlfriend. When everybody clears out, all of a sudden his parents show up and they are furious that he spent, because they were supposed to be in Madrid having a vacation, but he maxed out their credit cards. Now his dad is voiced by Homer Simpson, so that's kind of cool to hear. It's just one of those hilarious, crazy type episodes that's a little cringy, but it's funny. I prefer the more hard-hitting stuff, but this was just too good not to like talk about. Now, wasn't that romantic? Or depressing, depending on what kind of video I just talked about. Okay, well, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And bye.